So last month I made a 1-minute review giving my initial thoughts of Chad Lutzke's The Pale White, but I kind of, thought it was half-assed, and I think this book deserves a more in-depth book review, because I really think that this book is worth your time. It's really short. It's only like 98 pages, but it's one of those books that when you finish reading it, it just feels good for your soul. I don't know how to explain that, but it also is extremely emotional. So at the beginning of the book, the three main characters, Alex, Stacia, and Cammy, escape their captor, a man named Doc. And I'm going to be vague about that, even though that it's on the back cover. But with these characters, we find out that Alex is a goth punk character, and she thinks she's a vampire, which kind of sounds funny, but once you read the book, it's actually quite sad. And Chad Lutzke is just an absolute master at making you feel things for characters in such a small amount of time. One of the other characters is named Cammy, and she's the youngest, and she's a mute. She doesn't talk, and she has this pet fern. Yeah, and it's just thinking back on this book, it's just really sad. I mean, I don't know, maybe other people don't think it's sad, but for me it was like heart-wrenching. Anyway, the story is told from the point of view of the third girl, Stacia, and she's 17 years old, and she was raised by an alcoholic mother. Again, sad. And the other two girls are her family, and they call themselves the Pale White. Alright, so you might be asking what the plot of this book, actually is, and I wouldn't say it's a plot-driven story. It's more of stems from what happens after they escape, because Alex doesn't have any family, and she would kind of be on her own once they escaped, and Cammy would be put in foster care because she's only like 11 years old, I think, and Stacy would have to go back to her alcoholic mother. So all these, the Pale White, these three girls just kind of would be outsiders in the world, and they kind of have to deal with that, and they don't know what to do. Yeah, and then something happens at the middle of the story. It's just one of those books that you got to read. It's really quick. You could probably read it in a sitting or two. But I mean, just thinking about it, I'm just like, so why am I crying? I'm about to cry. This is a freaking good story. The last page is just, I highly recommend this book. I would give this a 5 out of 5. I read this in January, and I probably already found my favorite book of the year. I mean, I don't know, maybe. But it's so short, but it's also really fantastic. I long for the day where I could write as good as Chad Lutzke. This is just absolutely brilliant. A lot of people say that Chad Lutzke is horror. This is true literature. I mean, it's good stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's better than that half-assed one minute review I did. But yeah, I would highly recommend The Pale White by Chad Lutzke.